Hello, friends. This is Nurse Alice again, saying hello, and I'm here to read you another story. I hope that you enjoy this one. I picked out another Berenstain Bears book. This one is called The Berenstain Bears Get the Gimmies. Can you see that? Oh, Ma and Pa do not look very happy. Look at that little tantrum. It looks like they might be shopping at a store. Obviously, this is before COVID, and we don't have any masks on, because if we go to the store now, we have to wear our masks. But I still think there's probably a very good lesson for us in here. This book was also written by Stan and Jan Berenstain. Oh, and this is kind of neat. If you ever had this book, there's actually a maze that you can do inside the cover, and there's stickers. You could actually do like a sticker page or something. That would be really fun. All right. When a cub's behavior takes a turn for the worst, it's hard for parents to know what to do first. It's like a little poem in there. They both look very happy right now, don't they, with their little lollipops? Of course, the members of the Bear family who lived in the big tree house down a sunny dirt road in Bear Country loved each other. They loved each other very much. Brother and Sister Bear loved their Mama and Papa. Naturally, Mama and Papa loved their cubs, and of course they were nice to them, as nice as they could be. There's their nice little family. See the pretty red bird there? Isn't that a nice little red bird? But sometimes they were a little too nice. Sometimes the cubs got too many treats, too many toys, and too many rides on the bucking duck at the mall. That looks like fun, doesn't it? That yellow duck with his orange beak. It looks like they're having a very good time on the bucking duck. Maybe that's why Brother and Sister Bear got the Gimmies. Or maybe it was because there were treats, toys, and fun things to do wherever they looked. At the supermarket, at the mall, on TV, and just about everywhere. Do you find that too? There's all sorts of fun things to look at, aren't there? Everywhere we go. Even on the TV set. They're always trying to sell us stuff or get us to want things that we already don't have. Maybe that was why they began making a fuss to get what they wanted, especially at the supermarket checkout, where there were always stacks and stacks of candy and other goodies. "Now, cubs," said Mama Bear, as the family got into the checkout line and she saw that old gimme gleam in their eyes. "We can't have a big fuss every time we pass candy. I simply won't stand for it." See Mama there with her hands on her hips? Well, Papa Bear is loading all the stuff onto the conveyor belt, huh? "But Mama," whined Sister, "they have gummy gumballs, my favorite." "And chewy chompers, my favorite," whined Brother. "Now hush," said Mama. "I simply won't listen to another word." That's when Papa Bear smiled and said, "Now, Mama, they're only young once," and handed the cubs their favorite treats. Uh-oh. So Papa Bear said no after Papa Bear gave it to them after Mama Bear said no, huh? Let's see what happens. "It's only too true," said Mama as they were leaving the supermarket, "that you're only young once, but that's all the more reason to learn proper behavior while you're still young, and I certainly think—" "Look, look," shouted Sister, "a new ride!" "Hey, it's a bucking frog," yelled Brother. "That looks even better than the bucking duck. May we ride it, please? May we please?" Uh-oh, there's the bucking frog. He's green, huh? And he has a pretty purple hat with a feather in it. I wonder what Mama and Papa Bear are going to say, because they already got one treat at the supermarket. Now, Papa had just bought them treats, and he thought that was enough for one day, but the cubs made such a fuss that he sighed, dug into his pocket, and put some money in the slots. Oh, look at them throwing a little tantrum. Oh, dear. Papa looked at Mama and shrugged. Cubs will be cubs, he said. Mama doesn't look very happy. Cubs look very happy. They've got their candy and their bucking frog ride. Mama doesn't look very happy, though. It may be true that cubs will be cubs, said Mama as they walked across the parking lot to their car, but that's no excuse for jumping up and down and making a scene every time they see something they want. So they're walking through the parking lot. Mama and Papa Bear are talking. I like Mama's hat. I like that flower in her hair. Look, look, shouted the cubs once again. Little rubber cats that stick out their tongues when you squeeze them. Cubs, said Mama, that'll be quite enough. I don't want to hear another word. Oh, look, at somebody's selling stuff in the parking lot. Can you guys see that? They're little kitty cats. When you squeeze them, their tongues stick out. They do look kind of fun. Oh, please, they shouted. May we have them? Please, please, please. Papa decided it was time to put a stop to all the fussing. Oh, look at Sister Bear's even down on the ground, screaming. Look at that tantrum that they're throwing a fit. Oh, my goodness. But I don't think Papa Bear and Mama Bear are very happy. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. I just saw something, too. Do you see this? Even people in the parking lot are starting to look at them because they're making such craziness out of themselves. Oh, my goodness. Stop that fussing, he said in his loudest Papa Bear voice. But they were making such a commotion they didn't even hear him. Sister was jumping up and down so hard that she fell over backwards and started kicking her legs in the air. Please, please, shouted the cubs so loudly that the whole parking lot took notice. Oh, my goodness gracious. Said the embarrassed Papa to the toy seller. 2 of the rubber pussycats, please. Oh, dear. So he's embarrassed because the kids are making such a fuss. He goes and buys the cats anyway. I'm not thinking that's a very good idea, but we'll wait and see. The rubber pussycats not only stuck out their tongues when you squeezed them, they went squeak, squeak as well. And they squeaked, squeaked all the way home. I don't think that Mama Bear and Papa Bear look very happy. Even if the kitty cats are very fun with their squeaking and their tongues sticking out. Mama was quite annoyed by the time they got back to the treehouse, but Papa was so angry he could hardly speak. It wasn't until the cubs had gone about their business and Mama had made a pot of tea that Papa's voice came back loud and clear. Of all the outrageous, disgraceful, embarrassing behavior I've ever seen, he roared, that selfish, greedy performance by our cubs was the worst. Brother and sister have the worst case of the galloping gimmies. Oh, excuse me, the galloping greedy gimmies I've ever seen. Ooh, look at him. He is not happy. Look at Mom making tea in here. Mama Bear's making tea. She tried to tell Papa Bear. Yes, said Mama calmly, sipping her tea. But have you ever stopped to think about why they have the gimmies? Perhaps their greedy behavior isn't all their fault. Perhaps it's partly our fault for giving in every time they make a fuss. Papa listened quietly. Perhaps so, he said. It's up to us, she continued, to explain things to them, to help them understand why it's important not to be greedy. There's Mama and Papa Bear talking and drinking their tea calmly. And here they are, talking calmly again. Uh-oh. There's Brother and Sister Bear peeking around the corner. They're probably a little bit worried because they heard Papa Bear yelling earlier. Then Papa called the cubs in for a talking to. He told them why it wasn't a good idea to be selfish and greedy and want everything in sight. Selfish, greedy cubs, he explained, can never be happy because you just can't have everything you want all the time. Life isn't like that. Do you understand? Oh, yes, Papa, we understand, they said. They're sure sitting there nicely for their talking to with the cats that they got. He talked to them about counting their blessings, which meant enjoying the things that they had instead of forever wanting more, more, more. Does that make sense to you, he asked. Oh, yes, Papa, they said. It makes a lot of sense. That's when the cubs heard the sound of a familiar car door. It was Grizzly Gramps and Gran come to call. Look, there they are walking up. That must be their blue car back there, huh? Here they are walking up to the house. That must be Grizzly Gramps and Gran. Brother and sister ran to open the front door, and as Gramps and Gran came up the steps, they made the biggest fuss yet. "What'd you bring me? What'd you bring me?" they screamed. "What'd you bring me? What'd you bring me?" That did it. Uh-oh. Papa Bear does not look happy at this scene, does he? He just got done talking to them, didn't he? They weren't listening, I don't think. They sure didn't hear. "Up to your room," roared Papa. "Up to your room and no TV or treats for a week, for a month, for a year." The cubs knew this wasn't time to argue. They scurried up the stairs and into their room. Ooh, he's yelling at them, isn't he? I'm sure Grizzly Gramps and Gran are a little bit worried. They don't know what's going on, do they? Mama Bear looks a little worried too. "We seem to have come at a bad time," said Gran. "What about those things that we brought with us?" asked Gramps. "A puzzle for brother and a top for sister." "Your presents will have to wait, Gramps," answered Mama. "I'm afraid brother and sister have a big, bad case of the Gimmies." "The galloping, greedy Gimmies," added Papa. "The worst case I've ever seen." There they are talking, showing the top and the puzzle that they brought as presents. The cubs opened the door to listen. Did you see that? They're peeking through, listening. So they know that they had a treat, but because of their behavior, they didn't get their treat. "The worst case, you say?" said Gramps, looking Papa in the eye. "Seems to me you were quite a gimme cub yourself when you were little." Brother and sister sneaked to the top of the stairs so they could hear better. "I was?" said Papa. There's the kids at the top of the stairs, and there's Gramps talking to Papa Bear. "Of course, we didn't have malls or supermarkets back then, but there was old Roof Grizzly's General Store. Wonderful place. Sold just about everything. Honey cakes, licorice sticks, molasses apples, and all sorts of toys and novelties. And did you ever have the Gimmies? Did you ever? You wanted everything in sight, downright embarrassing. Why, it got so bad we couldn't go there anymore." Oh my goodness, this must be Papa Bear. When Grizzly Gramps and Gran, when Papa Bear was a little cub himself, he must have been throwing a fit just like Brother and Sister Bear were, huh? "So we worked out a deal," said Gran. "When it came time for a trip to the general store, we had you decide on a treat ahead of time. It could be a sweet or a toy or a book, but that was it for the whole day." "Right," said Gramps. "And if you came down with the Gimmies, we went right home and you got nothing." "That sounds pretty good, like a good plan to me," said Mama. "Me too." They're all talking and planning, aren't they? Can you see that? They're all probably sitting and having tea. The cubs tiptoed back to their room. It sounded okay to them, too. See them tiptoeing back to their room? They were eavesdropping. That's probably worth another book, huh? Can't get the page turned. Does that ever happen to you? The next time the Bear family went to the supermarket, they tried the Gramps and Gran plan, and it worked. Brother Bear decided he would get a book about dinosaurs, and Sister wanted a new box of crayons. Mama and Papa were very proud when the cubs passed the candy rack without so much of a peep. Brother and Sister were pretty proud of themselves, too. I think it's very nice that Mama and Papa Bear were able to afford to buy treats. But we've got to also remember that sometimes our mommies and daddies may not have money to buy treats for us, and sometimes we just need to look at things, huh? But then they heard it. The familiar sound of a cub with a bad case of the Gimmies. The kicking, screaming cub was just behind them in the checkout line. You had never heard such a fuss. What outrageous, disgraceful, embarrassing behavior, said Sister. May we leave? Yeah, said Brother, let's get out of here. That's kind of funny because that sure was them last week, wasn't it? But they're sure all watching this little cub throw a tantrum. That little cub does not seem very happy. I think he might need to read the Gimme books too. Or Grandma and Grandpa's plan needs to be told to his mom and dad. And that's how Brother and Sister Bear got rid of a bad case of the galloping, greedy Gimmies. That was a very good book. The end. Now remember what I said. It was really nice that Mama and Papa Bear actually had money to be able to buy things for Brother and Sister Bear, but we've got to always remember that sometimes Mama and Papa Bear, your mom and dad, may not have money to actually buy something. So we need to have good kindness in our heart, and we just need to look at things and sometimes just enjoy looking at some of the different things, and we can dream about having the different things in the future. And most of all, just being very happy for what we have and taking pride in what we have and taking care of things, all right? Well, until next time, I hope you're all safe and staying home and taking care of yourselves and your family, all right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.